Whisper Vault Archive number 003. Status 19 missing. Source: Theatre Maintenance Records. Recovered security footage. Anonymous witness statements. Classification active investigation. I don't think the movie was ever the problem. That's what everyone focused on after the disappearances started. People kept asking what was on the screen, whether it was some kind of psychological experiment, or if there were hidden images that caused people to lose their minds. I was asking those same questions at first. Now I'm pretty sure everyone was looking in the wrong direction. It wasn't the movie, it was the theatre. I know that sounds like a ridiculous distinction, but after spending the last 2 weeks talking to former employees, digging through public records and bothering just about every police officer, willing to pretend they hadn't heard of the case, I don't really know what else to believe. For anyone who hasn't seen my previous post, here's the short version. 19 people disappeared during 6 different movie screenings over the course of 9 days. Not all at once, not from the same showing, just 1, 2, sometimes 3 people at a time. No one saw them leave. The lobby cameras never captured them walking out. The emergency exits never opened. The bathrooms were searched. The roof was searched. The building was practically torn apart. Nothing. Eventually, the city closed the theatre indefinitely and blamed it on structural concerns. If you've ever seen that phrase in an official statement, you already know it usually means they don't want to tell you what's actually going on. What bothered me the most was how random the disappearances seemed. There was no pattern in age, no pattern in gender, no pattern in what movie they came to watch. At least, that's what everyone thought. Then I met Greg. Greg worked as a projectionist in the early 2000s, before everything became automated. He's retired now, and getting him to talk wasn't easy. At first, he kept insisting I had the wrong person. Then he asked me something I wasn't expecting. Did they disappear from Theatre 4? I hadn't even told him which theatre I was talking about. When I asked how he knew, he got quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, "Because it's happening again." Apparently, the theatre wasn't always laid out the way it is today. 23 years ago, Theatre 4 was actually 2 smaller screening rooms separated by a concrete wall. During renovations, the wall was removed to create one larger auditorium. Simple enough. Except, according to Greg, the construction crew kept complaining that the measurements didn't make sense. Every blueprint listed the building at the same dimensions. Every exterior measurement matched. But somehow, the inside of that section of the building was almost 11 feet larger than it should have been. The foreman blamed bad surveying. The architect blamed the contractors. Eventually, They just finished the renovation and stopped asking questions. Greg laughed when he told me that. Not because it was funny, because nobody realized that impossible measurements were the least concerning thing about that room. A few months after the renovation, employees started reporting strange maintenance issues. Projector bulbs would burn out after only a few hours. Film reels occasionally came back several minutes longer than when they were loaded. Cleaning crews complained that the back row never seemed to stay clean. They'd vacuum it before closing, only to find fresh footprints the following morning, before the first customers had even arrived. Management assumed kids were sneaking in overnight. The police searched the building. Nothing. The reports eventually stopped because people either quit or convinced themselves they'd imagined it. Then Greg told me something that wasn't in any official record. There had been a disappearance before, just one.
A college student working the closing shift.
Everyone assumed he'd stolen money from the safe and run away. Except the money was still there. His car stayed in the parking lot for almost 3 weeks before his parents came to collect it. The investigation quietly disappeared. And eventually, everyone moved on. Until now. After leaving Greg's house, I started requesting building permits from the city archives. Most of the renovation paperwork was exactly what you'd expect. Floor plans, electrical diagrams, inspection reports. Then I found one document that didn't belong. It was a handwritten maintenance request dated almost 24 years ago. There wasn't a company logo, no department name, no signature. Just one sentence. Do not remove the rear access door under any circumstances. The problem is, there isn't supposed to be a rear access door. Not on any blueprint. Not on any fire escape diagram. Not on any evacuation plan. I figured maybe it referred to an older layout. So I went back to the theatre myself. It's still closed, but the side parking lot is surprisingly easy to access after dark. Before anyone says it, yes, I know it was stupid. I wasn't planning on going inside. I just wanted to compare the exterior walls to the old blueprints. That's when I noticed something odd. The back wall of Theatre 4 has no windows, no vents, nothing. But there's a section of brick that looks newer than everything around it. Not newer by a few years, newer by a few weeks. Fresh mortar. Fresh concrete. Almost like someone had sealed something shut. I was taking pictures when I heard someone behind me. It was a police officer, except he never asked what I was doing. He never asked for identification. He looked at the wall, looked back at me, and said something that still doesn't make any sense. "You didn't hear anything, did you?" I told him no. He looked relieved. Then he told me to leave. As I was walking back to my car, I heard it. 3 loud knocks from inside the wall. Not pipes, not construction. 3 slow knocks, like someone was asking to be let out. I froze. The officer froze too. For a second, I thought he'd finally admit something. Instead, he walked over to me, lowered his voice, and said, "If you value your life, pretend you didn't hear that." Then he got back in his cruiser and drove away. I've barely slept since then. Yesterday morning, an envelope showed up in my mailbox. No stamp, no return address. Inside was a single Polaroid photograph. It shows the inside of Theatre 4. The screen is blank. Every seat is empty, except one. In the very last row, someone is sitting there facing the screen. The image is too blurry to make out their face, but they're wearing the exact same jacket my brother was wearing the night he disappeared. Written on the back of the photo, in handwriting that looks disturbingly familiar, were 6 words. The movie already ended. We didn't. I haven't told my family about the picture. I don't even know if I should. 'Cause if that really is my brother, then whatever happened inside that theatre didn't kill them, and somehow that possibility scares me even more. End of archive number 003.